Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Joy. This is my first update on my Project Pan 2022. My goal for this project this year is not to use up the products in the projects within the year. My goal is to use the products 100 times. Some of these products I might use up before or by the 100th usage. If I use up a product or hit 100 uses, I have the option of rolling it out of the project and roll in another product in place of the product, or keep it in the project until I use it up. I have 22 products in this project, and let me start my update with this Himalaya Olive Nourishing Cream. This moisturizer, I have already started working on this last year as part of the Christmas Project Pan, which is part of a Ghost of a Christmas Yet to Come. And I have used this 38 times in January, and as you can see, or perhaps you can tell, right, that I've now used up about a quarter or a third of the product in here. This one, I intend to use up even if I already hit the 100 uses mark. Next is this Elliana Blur Makeup Primer. And I've now marked it where I am. After using this for a month, I've used this 21 times. So I did mention in my intro that I actually enjoy using this over the makeup base I was working on last year. And this is actually great with the foundations I'm working on. And then the next product is this Dr. Brandt Luminizer Primer. I have used this 6 times only. And most of the times when I was using this alone. It did mention here that I can use it alone, although it looks better if I have foundation on. But I do use this whenever, especially on weekends, when I do go out from the house and I have to wear a mask so that there's less transfer on the mask, so I don't put on foundation anymore. And I didn't mark where I am. Perhaps when I've used more products from here, I'll press this. This is quite runny. And then next would be this foundation. So this is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation, which I had been working on in my previous year's project pan, but I've never got around to using this up. So this time, again, still not using it up goal, but 100 uses. And so far, I've used this 8 times. And for this foundation, I didn't mark where I am because it's a bit difficult to tell actually where I am on this foundation. And I have been mixing this LA Girl Pro Coverage White Foundation with this one because this is not my shade. This is a bit dark on me. And this one, I've used this 9 times. Now, you may be wondering how come I've used this more than this Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation if I am mixing them together, because I also mix this actually with this Happy Skin Ready to Glow. I did try to use this alone once. So this is, and then I mix this together twice. So that's where the 9 is coming from, because I've used this 8 times. So for this Ready to Glow, Happy Skin Ready to Glow Anti-E-Aging Liquid Foundation, I use this 16 times. This one, the shade is Pink Beige. So this is quite pink on me. I didn't realize actually when I bought this that this is pink, and I thought perhaps it should be okay because I kind of feel the BB cream I was working on last year was too yellow. And maybe I'm cool toned rather than warm toned, but I'm neither. I think I am more neutral. Not sure if I'm olive, but yeah. So anyway, this one you can't tell where I am because of how this is packaged. But in terms of the weight, because I did weigh this, I have used up about 3.23 grams of product in here. This one about 92.92 grams. And for this one, although I did mark it, there's no difference when I was looking at this time. But based on the weight, I've used up around 0.45 grams. Next would be this Sansan concealer. So this concealer, I also had this in my previous project pans, and this is one of the product I know I will struggle hitting the 100 uses based on my experience last year where I had difficulty using up the concealers, which were minis. So anyway, this is what it looks like now. And I actually used this 21 times in January. Now, in terms of my usage, it won't be visible as I'm not hitting I'm not hitting on the same place. I'm actually trying to hit my brush or my finger around the sides where there are more product. So my goal is more or less this looks flat rather than having this dip. Now the next product that I will give you my update would be this Markson Spencer press powder. The shade of this powder is light, and I only managed to use this 5 times. I tend to use the loose powder more than this one. So this Nishido, I use this more than this pressed powder. For this pressed powder, I have used this 5 times. And this is one of the product actually where I am planning to use up this year. I really need to use this more than this loose powder. For this one, this would work well with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation to lighten it actually. So I need to remember to use this. For this Nishido final powder, the shade is Pink Glow, and I've used this 18 times, and that's what it looks like, the 18 uses. So this is my starting point, and this is where I am now. For this one, actually, I'm just surprised that I am reaching to this product over the pressed powder. Many people are using this to bake, but that's not what I'm using it for. I don't really bake anyway. And then my next product would be this Careline Contour Stick. And this is what it looks like after using this product 17 times. Now, I don't think I can really show you how much improvement I made on this one. Perhaps in terms of the usage, I would say I've just used up about 1 to 2 millimeter. But maybe after 3 months of using this would be flat already, or even before the 3rd month, I would have flattened this already if I focus on this contour stick. Because the other one that I'm also working on is this bronzer, this Park Avenue Princess. I've used this 9 times, so I've been using this more over this one. And this is what it looks like now. I think for this one, there's now some visibility that I have used this product. They're just 3 grams, I think, of product in here. So I can actually use this up if I focus on this one. Perhaps this is shallow. It's not a deep pan. I can give that a try and also focus on this one. Now, the next 3 products that I'll be giving you my update are blushes. So it may seem that I have a lot of blushes in the project, but I did mention that last year I used my blushes 400 times last year. And because I tend to reapply them and I count them whenever I reapply. And most of the time I actually do, because whenever it fades, well, at least that was the case last year, and I would reapply. So let me start with this Alouette face paint, and this one I also didn't mark where I am, but I think it would be much more visible as I give you my updates in succeeding months, that this would look used. Perhaps I can use up that much. The 100 uses would be that much. So this one, I used this 13 times. And then for this blush, this is a Franken Blush. So if you've seen my previous year's project pan, this packaging, this container may look familiar to you because I've been reusing this, repurposing this, and this is what it looks like now. Now, this one also, it's not visible in terms of usage. I don't think you can tell that I've used this 18 times. I really thought that this is not as pigmented. I still yet have to figure out how to Franken my blush where it would look not so pigmented. That's my goal, at least for now. That's what I'm looking for. And I tend to put this on top of this blush, this liquid, this cream blush. So this goes together. And usually that is when I'm doing a reapplication, or sometimes when I just put this and then I put this on, because I get very little product in from here. But I did try it once, getting more product from here, and I enjoy this. I actually love this shade over the other two for now. Yeah, based on what I am enjoying, I like this. Now this one, this is also not the original packaging of the pressed powder in here. This is a BYS blush, and I repress it into this old L'Oreal blush. This one, I use this 15 times. So I've used this the most number of times, followed by this. This is 18, this is 15, and this is 13. Next would be my highlighters, and let me start with this Urban Decay Sin. The shade is Sin, and this one, this is a bit difficult to get product. It's a bit difficult to get product from here. And not because of the size of the container of the pan, but more, I think this is hard pressed. I used this 7 times, and for the other highlighter, which is a Becca Highlighter, and the shade is Prosecco Pop. This one I actually enjoy using. I've used this 14 times. Now, when I started this project, this is the product that I am using it for the first time. Yeah, if I'm not, oh, and also the Dr. Brandt, yes. For this one, it may look like this is quite old. This is old, but I haven't used this previously. I just started working on this in this project, and this packaging started to get sticky already, the rubber. Yeah, so yep. And then next would be my lip products. I have 4 lip products here, and I'm not so worried working on several lip products because I tend to mix them or layer them. So what I do is I put this on first. This is the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, Liquid Catsuit, and the shade is Rebel Rose, and I've worked on this. I've used this 34 times. And what I do is I put this on and then I layer this on top because this is quite drying. So this is a BTLA lip gloss, and I have used this 28 times. Now, other times is I would put this on, this NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream. The shade is San Paulo. I've used this 14 times, and then I will put this on top of it. And then at times, I would put this on top of that as well. Although sometimes I would just have these two together. And then lastly, this Wet n Wild Megalast. The shade is Dollhouse Pink. And I have also been layering this one. So I would put this first on my lips and then put this on top. So that's how I've been using these lip products. For the Wet n Wild, I've used this 12 times. So this one 14 times, this one 12 times, this one 38 times. No, 34 times, and this one 28 times. So among the three, this is quite visible that I have used this. I've been using this. I think you can now see, right, that there are parts where there's no product. But I think this is really because this is quite drying. And, but because of what it looks like now, I might try to use this up this year. And then the last two products that I have is this Eyebrow Pencil. So this is Vice Gandol Micro Brow. I have been using this more to draw my eyebrows rather than to fill it up, to fill it in. So I don't fill it in, so it may take a while for me to use this up. I've used this 15 times. And in terms of usage, I think I've just used up about a third of the product. And then lastly, this hand cream. This is a hand cream. This is not the Pinkies Collection makeup base. I just repurposed the packaging. I put in 4 Smith & Crawford hand cream in here. I've used this 9 times, and that's what 9 times looks like. So maybe if I focus on this one next month, use this 9 times, I may also have the same progress. If I use it more, or even use it every day, I may be able to use this up. But that's not my goal for this one. Perhaps try to use this up by my 3rd update. Yeah, I'm not really into using lotions. There you go. So this is my update for my Project Pan 2022 Project 100 uses. Now, before I go, let me just share with you the top 3 products that I use the most. And this is the Himalaya Olive Extra Moisturizing Cream, the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, and this BTLA Lip Gloss. So these are the top 3 products I've used the most. And then the products I've used the least are this Urban Decay Highlighter, this Dr. Brandt Luminizer Primer, and Marks & Spencer Press Powder. Now, the one I'm most surprised that I've used several times is this Sansan Concealer. I've used this 21 times. I think I've been unconsciously thinking I need to use this because this one, I feel I would struggle using this 100 times. So there. Thank you all for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you do so before you leave, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye!